Alright guys, what's up? Now, I know everybody is, well, not everybody, a good 20% of the game and server is going to reach 70, which is the cap. Now, here's what happens and here's what you need to do when you hit 70. This is the same way and the same thing that happened overseas, and this is kind of why I told people to not go that hard and stuff and not spend so much money, because we're all going to end up at the same place, and then yeah, all the money that you spent for your little head start is going to be negated. So I could see myself probably being at 70 this time next week, most likely. The way the game works and the way that the Jonian metal work for me and anybody with the tuning metal is probably going to be maybe in 10 days, but me is probably going to be in 7, and everybody else will be just lagging in probably within another 2 weeks or so. And it's a good chance that with this content, I don't think that we're going to actually get a cap raise in September, so majority everybody is going to be at 70, which again is why I said don't do that, because I knew that was going to happen. That's just the way this game works. This game rises and level content by increments, and you end up sitting at something for a good while. So keep that in mind. Now, the next thing I want to break down for you is what happens when you get to 70. Now, you see, me in general, I'm lacking a few things. Silver-wise, with my gear upgrade, it's not really that lacking that much. I have like one character that's lacking behind really with that. My upgrade set, I need to actually start upgrading, but here's the problem with that. As you can see, it's very, very restrictive according to your luck and ninja exam. If you're not lucky and you don't have anything to upgrade with, you can't do any of that. So what you start to do from there when you can't do that is you start to funnel over into your characters. Start worrying about getting your characters up to star 4 and star 5 while you're doing that. This is where you start pay attention. Like, you could do both at the same time, but you kind of take away from the one or the other. So you should kind of like decide which one you're gonna do. If you want to do your gear, then do your gear to the point where ninja exam is not helping you anymore. Then you turn around and start worrying about your stars. Now, me in general, I am probably the team that you look at right now is probably what I'm going to worry about in general. I will worry a little bit about Team 7, but not that much, because the North American server is a little bit more forthcoming than the Chinese server was back then. In the beginning, the Chinese server, they didn't, we were starving for a while in the beginning. It wasn't that great at all, but North America is a little bit different, which is a credit to them. They probably had to do that because the Americans are going to be a little bit bored if they didn't have something to chase after. See, we already had Playboy Sasuke. Playboy Sasuke was not that early on the Chinese server at all. He wasn't. In fact, Sakura came before him. Schoolgirl Sakura came before Playboy Sasuke, so I was a little bit shocked to even see him that early. So, yeah, there's that. So, with that said, and you look at that type of thing that's going on right now, you can kind of get the sense that they're going to get us characters out there that we're going to have a little bit early, so I won't necessarily have to worry about relying on Team 7. You can if you want to, but more than likely you probably not going to have to. But as far as with your characters, once you hit 70, everybody who does hit 70, and if you're coming close to it, what you should start doing is start overlapping. And what I mean by overlapping is start worrying about your characters. That's overlapping. That's part of overlapping. Start worrying about your star characters, because you won't be able to do a whole lot with your gear, because you're going to need the next level of mats, and we won't be able to do that because we won't be able to progress up into the level 70 plus stuff. So you don't need to really worry about that. Make sure that you do not miss getting your contribution every day. Like, I see a lot of people, there's not a lot of people doing convoy and plunder anymore, and I'm like, why not? Because you're always going to need skill points. You're always going to need this stuff. Let me go in here. You're always going to need this stuff, and it's going to get to the point where you can start using your points at other places. There's no reason for me to tell you why right now, but you are going to need this. You're going to need that. So not doing it every day is fail. Just make sure that you always do it every day, even if you're like at the point where stuff is just maxed out and you can't go any further. Keep going. Just keep going. Don't stop doing it ever. Don't stop doing it. Remember, I told you that now. Don't say you wasn't warned. Yeah. And more overlapping is to keep going on getting all of these. Like, there's no reason to stop because you get a reward every single time that you go. Like, so if I get this one, I'm gonna get more coupons. I get this one, I'm gonna get more coupons. I get this one, I'm gonna get more coupons. So the same thing goes for the characters. Let me go in here. As you start to build up characters, you start getting more coupons. Like, it gets a little bit different. Like you say, like at 50, you gotta go to like maybe 47 needs you go to 50, and then 51 needs you go to 55 and stuff like that. But that's fine because you're building up your characters. Start building up everything. Like, get carrying. Carrying is not that hard to get. Tsunade starts to get easier to get as you go up. You actually even get her free. But I like Tsunade. She's a pretty strong healer. So as you can see, I'm actually starting to already work on getting her. Kakachu, I don't know where the hell I got him from. I don't know where I got. Oh, actually, I do know where I got Yamato from. That's from the Elite Instance. Sugetsu, you start to get a lot of his free stuff, so he's relatively easy to pick up. Kidimaru, you might get him in Survival for free completely, but if you don't, pretty easy to get either way. They're kind of like throw parts at you. The same thing, the Sound 5 ninjas and Survival, they practically give you them over the course of time, so don't go too hard with that. You start to see that you start to get parts and they'll just flat out give you them one by one. I just think that's a drop rate thing. You see a Ruka, I just haven't really bothered with a Ruka right now. I do want them, but it's kind of like whatever. Everybody else, well, you just, you get them over the course of time. You notice that this is extremely lacking compared to the Chinese version, so don't get too disheartened. Like, it's gonna get better from here. Alright, so definitely don't slack off with that. Don't slack off with your cultivation or all your characters. Make sure that you do your survival all the time, because once we start getting to a point where we can't progress anymore, build up this cultivation right here. Build it up. Don't let it lag, because it starts to get very expensive later. They can make sure that 12 characters all have their full cultivation. So while you're stuck at a particular level, now is the time to farm. That's the best way I can say it. Now's the time to farm. Start farming now. So when you get stuck at the next level, you're gonna be at a point where you're like, man, I don't care about this, and then you repeat the cycle. Now do the same thing in the other MMOs. When you're at max level, you farm, so you make it easier for yourself and the next upcoming content, so you're ahead of the curve. There's gonna be a lot of people who don't do that. People don't farm. I even do videos on various games telling them to farm and how much easier it is gonna be for them, and they still don't do it because either they don't want to listen, they don't think I know what I'm talking about, or whatever else. But I'm giving you the heads up now to farm. So other than that, you guys be legendary. Also, farming negates the head start that people get. And it's, if you farm and you're at a point where you're just great and you just always have resources and everything, that negates the head start of everybody running off and just getting like 2 or 3 levels ahead of you. Being completely farmed and silvered, and the cultivation and everything else makes you stronger, makes you a better off than most of the people in the game, and you're gonna have a better time against people who are maybe a little bit faster and pay to win. So other than that, you guys be legendary. That's all I want to talk to you about with this particular video, and what I want to relay to you, because this is the cycle of the game. You're gonna have people who are gonna run ahead and be at the finish line, and then you're gonna catch up and you're gonna be looking at each other as if everybody topped up or paid to win at the same time. And that's kind of why I was warning people to kind of not do that, because we're all going to end up at the same spot, and we'll be sitting there like that for like 2 or 3 weeks, where the only difference is going to be who was lucky or who spent more money to get more characters. That's going to be the only difference at the end of the day. That's it. This isn't a game that's where you buy exclusive gear because you topped up. It's not that type of game. So that's why I kind of tried to warn people, but nobody don't. Like, I see people just spending money, and I'm like shaking my head like, okay, see you in 2 weeks when we have the same exact shit. Peace. I'd like to thank everybody for 10K subs. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. And if you liked what you saw in this video, please click the top right to click more of my videos, or click the bottom right to subscribe to the channel. Once again, one love, peace, and I will see you next video.